But yeah, we about 8 minutes deep. I'll jump into our announcements and things. I know I touched a little bit on the 3D foxes. More so just like a mention that they do exist for folks that are interested in getting them. There have been people too that are also like are commissioning, like their tier 2 or tier 1 upgrades if you guys want to. Um, Part of like our strategy with the tier 1, tier 2 is just figuring by the time avatars like this become more popular in the space, there's going to be, I think, people that are um, able to kind of recreate them in a way that makes sense and is a bit more efficient than the way we've done so far. So, but by all means, feel free to go out and commission, um, kind of your own foxes on top of it. I know Friends and Foes DAO, it's probably low-key alpha. They're checking out the things to be able to get foxes from there, which I think would be pretty sick to see. And I think, again, I think at its absolute basis, getting smaller models in the sense of not the fox itself being smaller, but from a sizing perspective, I think for the most part, foxes are around 10 megabytes. I think getting them into the 2 megabyte range is like more ideal, if I'm not mistaken. But but yeah, if you hadn't had a chance to unlock your 3D foxes, you can do that on your My Foxes page. It does cost 10k Foxy, so just as a heads up, and you don't have to. There's no prerequisites to it, but like Rec was mentioning, right now we don't have a way to do a preview on it, and so you'll have to kind of maybe see other foxes or ask people to kind of see theirs. If you have pictures, I think we've got a good bit unlocked, so you should be able to find the attributes you're looking for, or at least get a general idea about it, as people are just dancing all around the field, which I love. Um, but yeah, we'll keep cracking on to our announcements for this week. A lot of quality of life updates, primarily for just, feedback that we've gotten from tools and all that fun stuff. Um, One of them, since we've been working with several artists over the past, honestly, at this point, probably a couple months, Snapshot, we're trying to make that easier. It now automatically filters out staked and escrowed NFTs. So you don't have to worry about like kind of losing those airdrops that people are sending out. So if you check on the holders page when you're in Snapshot, you'll see on the left-hand side it mentions that the tool itself filters out staked and escrow NFTs. So that's by default. Um, then we also have TMI. It sorts tokens by Jupiter and token market prices. So that way you'll see like what's the most valuable at the top, and then it works its way down. So that could be helpful for people that are looking at burning tokens or selling tokens or whatever you want to do, close out the accounts to see what's valuable or not valuable. And then you can just basically scroll to the bottom, work your way up. Um, and burn or close accounts if you want to, which I do recommend people doing because if nothing else, you get back that 0.002 SOL per token account that's open. So you could have free money out there, especially from like these scammer coins, like the scammer gem that Brink has in here. But you can get that little bit of SOL back from the token account that was created. We've also added in auction support, so you can create auctions in SOL and SPL tokens that's on Raffle. I know we mentioned it a few times in different ways, but it's been something that folks have been asking for, primarily for other SPL tokens, not necessarily in SOL, and for projects where they might have a one of one, very similar to what we do with our Friends and Foes collection, and they want to run an auction via an SPL token. And we've partnered up with Form Function to be able to use Foxy. I think they might have done another or a couple of different SPL tokens at this point. But really outside of that, it's for anybody that wants to kind of create a piece. If it's done by an artist and they make it immutable, and they're like a person that there seems to be kind of demand for, by all means, like we'll add those pieces in as well. As we've done that for some people. And there are like tertiary collections that are created within like certain communities, like Skeleton Crew, as an example, where they've got different airdrops and things created by other artists that they've been interested in putting up as either raffles or auctions. So we went through and we added in a batch from them as well. And the biggest thing, again, from the safety side, having them be immutable just basically helps us make sure that you can't change it. Um, as we've seen in the past, like people have tried to scam others by changing out the metadata to look like a DGOT as an example. That's the most recent and why we're the most vigilant on those kinds of changes. Just jump in here real quick. Okay, cool. So, yeah, sorry, 1 second there. So yeah, so that's for setting up auctions in Raffle, which is pretty sweet. You can also set up, so in Raffles we did actually a couple of quality of life updates. The first one is that you can set up like a default for where your page goes back to for your tabs. So you just set up on your profile if you want to go back to like my created, um, you know, or anything along those lines. There's like 4 or 5 different tabs that are in there. You can just set that up so anytime you go back to your profile, it brings you to that page automatically. It's more so helpful for people that create a ton of raffles and they want to go back and reference specific ones. So by all means, you can just jump back in there and it'll just default back to the previous tab you had before. And also within Raffle, we did add notifications for in dialect for both winning and ending raffles. And within the Raffler DAO, actually, some folks had sent suggestions around like options they can pick for timings prior to raffles ending if there's certain ones that they're watching. So we've got that kind of in the back end that we're working on getting those implemented. But another one as well that I don't think folks had mentioned, but was around followed rafflers. So if you follow somebody and they create a new raffle as an example, you'll be able to get a notification that such and such had created in a new raffle. I think that'll be super helpful as well for folks that are kind of supporting different rafflers or something along those lines where they wanted to see what's coming out from certain people. They don't have to kind of like ask or wait for them to shill it in a channel or check everyone's profile out, which I think will be pretty awesome. I think those are the main quality of life updates. Let me just double check. Yeah, I think those are the main quality of life updates. For what it's worth too, since we're still on the topic of raffles, we do have a bi-weekly raffler raffle, which actually the volume for it, like we just closed out the time period for it, so it was up until 23:59 UTC for the 15th, so that had ended just before we started up VC. And the way that that works is within those first 2 weeks, so between the first at 12:01 a.m. to the 23:59 on 115, the volume totals for raffles allow people to get free entries into the Raffler raffle. And this time we're doing an SMB, a Famous Fox, a Degen, Fat Cat, 2 TFFs, a Sharks, a Lily, and we might add more to it. I have to check the volume on our final numbers to see what else we can add to it. We're doing a certain percentage basis from it. And based off that volume, for anyone that sells raffles, you get 1 ticket for every 100 sold volume. And if you buy raffles, you get 3 tickets for every 100 sold volume. So again, the entrance to it itself is free. It's just based off of your activity within raffles. And we've been able to kind of create enough of an infrastructure to run these bi-weekly. It seems to be of interest too in the Raffler DAO side and for folks that do run raffles. So, so yeah, that's gonna be our first one. I'm gonna do a live drawing for that tomorrow. It's gonna be around 3 p.m. EST. So for anyone that's interested, we're gonna do that in the Raffler DAO channel. I basically had gotten an application online to be able to go through and import everyone's basically Twitter and ticket amounts, and then just do a live drawing from there. And the total list, the updated list with volumes and everything, I will get that squared away, most likely early my time tomorrow. So you'll have, I'll say like 8 hours, maybe a little less than 8 hours to kind of check out the lists that we post up in there. And it's going to be in the same Google Sheets that the last one was. So I believe it was MJ Breezy or Brutal. Someone had posted it in announcements. Let me just go see real quick. It was posted. I have to go back and see exactly where it was sent up at. But in either case, we'll. Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I went back too far. Yeah, Brutal had posted it actually on the 2nd of February. So if you want to go in and check out that spreadsheet, again, that's not updated yet. That will be updated tomorrow morning, but it does at least have, I think, from Thursday's volume, if I'm not mistaken. So Thursday as in 4 days ago, for anyone interested in checking out where they were at that point. And that only grabbed people that had 250 soul minimum, because that's what we were doing before, but we are counting everyone to 100, so we'll add in again everything from the 100 as well in there, just so that people know. But again, price pool, right now I think it's around, I mean, I know floor prices had dipped a little bit, but I think it was around 600 soul, 500 and some change. So again, that should grow a little bit based off of extra volume over the last 4 days. But for anyone interested, at least to see the live draw again tomorrow, 3 p.m. EST, so it should be pretty fun. Let's see, missions. Missions are live. I'll run through the list of missions that we have. So we've got a pretty good amount for people. So we've got the solo headset, level 38 plus, solo cope hoodie or hat, level 40 plus. We got the duo with the Captain and Captain Den. That's level 38 plus. Also got a duo for Viking and Viking Den, and that's level 36 plus. One of the more tricky ones is the two Monster Trainers, level 40 plus, and Monster Trainer Den. And then 3 eyewear level 38 plus, and that covers spectacles, shades, and Thug Life glasses. So so that's a pretty wide one there, which is pretty awesome. And then our raid. So we did a Mutant Eye raid, and I'm fairly sure it filled the quickest I've ever seen a raid fill. And granted, mutated eyes aren't like super rare. They're rare-ish, but there's still a lot of them, and people, really kind of get behind them. I know I personally have two. Was able to get those into the raid. But then on top of that, a lot of other foxes that are eligible for it as well. So I will say that is a very popular raid and trait to go out. So that is live. Let me, I don't even know if it was open for a minute, to be honest with you. It just filled up real quick. So if you got a chance to be in there, hopefully you get some good prizes from it next week. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think the only other update in here to throw out is our teasers. So shout out to Brink for sending them over to me and me allowing me to steal his thunder a little bit. But I did create a sneaky channel within our DAO section, and I tagged it as well in the announcement for those that can see it. That we've got 4 in there right now. I know we're working on getting maybe a couple more. I just want to make sure like they're finalized and happy with the way they are before we push them out. And yeah, that way people can kind of see some progress on our tier 1 artwork for TFFs, which is pretty exciting. I added 2 to the announcement as well, if you don't want to go around and check the channel out, but it's pretty fun. Sometimes I'll ping no lifers in there. Sometimes I'll just mess around with people and post in there. So it's pretty fun. But yeah, but Xeno's been doing a fantastic job on them. And So just wanted to kind of give a shout out there and get some more eyes on it if people are interested in kind of checking them out. But yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty busy week, a pretty wild week. Obviously, Solana's pricing has been pretty interesting, and watching the price action on NFTs and all that fun stuff has been great. Um, a lot of interesting comments to say the least from Peanut Gallery. Um, but things have been going quite well with the project, so we're not slowing down, which is pretty awesome. If nothing else, we're working on improving a lot of things and expanding, so I'm pretty excited for it. So I'll kind of pause there just to run through some chats. But yeah, if you guys do drop any questions, make sure you ping me. That way I do see them, because I know you guys are fairly active for chatting. Yeah. So I see Trade Up is talking about the F9 mode. So when you have the GLP avatar set to true, I don't know if that's something on Portal's side they have to modify. So when they first, or at least when we first were testing out 3D Fox models, uh, that menu would actually go away as soon as you log in, and I'm not sure if they kept it because of troubleshooting, but there should be a way to like close out of it. It's just like a report thing. One of them is more transparent than the other, but yeah, I haven't found a way to actually remove it. It just lets you kind of keep it in a corner and the buttons show and all that fun stuff. So it's
You can
still, it
do a
is.
right click.
Can you right click it?
You can right click and inspect element on it, but there's not like an interface to do it.
Gotcha.
You can do it the old fashioned hacker way.
And teach everyone to hack. Hopefully that helps Straight Up. Um, I don't even know why I didn't think about trying that before, but that's a good one, Brink. I got a question here from Marbler. In context of getting collections and SPL tokens approved for raffles, is there a way to get approved at a company org level? I'm not sure exactly what you mean on there, Marbler. So SPL tokens themselves, there's two different forms we have in our support channel. One of them is for our token market, and the other is for raffles/auctions. Um, we've now bundled raffles and auctions together since it's in the same platform, so the fee for that did kind of increase a little bit. But the process for it is very straightforward. You just fill out those forms and we'll get them implemented. I will apologize. Sometimes we might not get back to you quickly to let you know they are live. Um, but we usually process those in less than a 24-hour period for token requests. For collections, it's a little bit different. We do have like kind of minimum requirements set up for volume, and then sometimes we do kind of make exceptions based off of like total collection size and unique holder amounts. And of course, there are differences there too. If collections have staking and they're popular for staking, so they might have less unique holders if it's staked into an escrow wallet versus being non-custodial. And so what I would say is for collections, if people submit collection requests and it's longer than a 24-hour period for someone to get back to you, by all means, either DM myself or Sociosa to be able to help out with, I'll say, escalating that request. But for token accounts that they're SPL tokens, it should be done fairly quickly. And if you have any questions for that too, you can always reach out to me if there's any issues or question suggestions.
So the volume is not a requirement, or because like let's say at a company level, we're planning on doing a lot of collections over time, right?
Yeah.
Do we have to wait until every collection is reaching this threshold and then contact you each time we want another collection added to your system?
Well, we'd need to be contacted regardless to add the collections in. The volume side, when it gets down to like a project that's got multiple pieces to it, Usually we look at like the collective, but probably the collective for like the top 2 or 3 to see if that adds up to be 10K. So if you have tertiary airdrops with artists or traits that are their own collections or something along those lines, you might not have a lot of volume on there. Or if they're one of one pieces that there's 4 in the collection, right? You're not going to have a lot of volume in that collection. So that's why we look at mostly like the main 2, 3 collections of that project. And as long as that reaches like the 10K-ish threshold, we'll approve all the collections kind of in the set if it's tied back to the same creator, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It just sounds like a headache. Like, so we're a game company. We've been established for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like so it's like if I'm trying to walk into the space and become a part of it and mint lots of collections because we have a large history in the game world, like in our game world,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm trying to mint into Solana and become a part of this. So if that's my plan, it's kind of going to become a headache to be like, wait for this to get on your system. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well,
that's why I was asking if there's a way to work with you guys at a company or organization level. That would be a lot easier.
Yeah, what I would say too, depending on the way you guys go about this, and by all means, I'm happy to take this offline too. You can build like into collections. Like I don't know if you need to have them all separate collections. Again, I'm not sure the whole strategy, but you can have, in-game assets as its own collection and keep adding to that collection. And as long as that's like a verified collection, it'll let you add them without us having to go through a process of approving it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I've already got 4 collections and I plan on doing, like, we have Marble Fest events, like we have all kinds of stuff going on that I'm probably going to be minting for. And I could just see this becoming like, hey, can you approve this? Hey, can you approve this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love your work.
What's that?
Big fan. Big, huge fan.
Oh, good.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
No, that's awesome.
I used to run marbles contests with Foxes for Foxy like months and months ago.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's one of our like OG like gamer group events.
Yeah, I'm planning on entering this space aggressively over the next couple of years, and I can just foresee this being a massive headache. And I just want to be
it's
in
more
your
of a social
ecosystem.
thing. If you're newer to it, it makes less sense. But it's essentially like people can change metadata for things. So I think the volume and a lot of the specific restrictions for getting added onto Raffle and different things is just because it's like a legitimacy thing. If someone gets listed and they go and change everything to be like a different NFT or something to try to scam people, that's when it's a
100%.
problem.
Yeah.
So that's more of the angle rather than trying it to be like an arbitrary restriction.
Yeah. But yeah, more than happy again to chat more offline to figure something out.
Okay, yeah, appreciate it. I don't want to take it too much more of your time.
No, I by all means. I mean, I would love to chat more offline. So we'll definitely set that up. Definitely make sure to reach out.
Sounds good. Will do.
Yeah. And I appreciate Brink's take on that too, because that's exactly how it is. It's more so about like the integrity for the platform than anything else. So more than happy to work with people to improve it.